We'll start with the prayers. Om Bhadram Karne Shurunama Devaha Bhadram Pashe Makshabhiryajatraha Stirairandaihi Sushtuvagum Sustunobihi Vyashema Devahitam Vyadayuho Swasti na Indro Vrittashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaha Swasti nastakshorarishthanemihi Swasti no Brihaspati'r dadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are studying Mandukya Upanishad, the Shankara Bhashyam. The first chapter consisting of 12 mantras and 29 karikas. Today is the 6th session of this Upanishad. We have covered the first mantra and we are doing the second mantra now. I hope to complete the second mantra today. Mandukya Upanishad, according to me, is a direct Upanishad revealing our nature. Unique thing about this Upanishad is we are studying the Shankara Bhashyam of his grand guru, Gaudapadacharya. That means we are getting two commentaries of one Upanishad when we study this. I have not come across any Upanishad which is so deep in its revelation about our nature. We all come to study Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, in order to understand something unique about this universe. The subject matter in all these three texts, which is called as Prasthanatrayam, is very unique. Science does not go into the depth of the human being as much as these three texts do. We are all scientists, but we are subjective scientists, not objective scientists. Objective scientists look at the external world and go very deep into the external world. The three texts which are Prasthanatrayam are as the scientific study which we have undertaken in the external world. The same depth which you have gone through in the external world, you can go through in your own self. That is why I call this study subjective science. There is a lot of experimentation which one has to undergo while studying this Upanishad. Especially this Upanishad because it is talking about our own experience in this world. With this short introduction, I will go straight into the page where we stopped last week. I have already circulated to you the notes which I am discussing in these talks. I have written notes up to the third chapter and I have posted it in the Vedanta students website. For those who want to study these chapters on their own, you can go through the website. You can download the notes. The best way to study is to print the notes, bind them, ring bind them, and then keep it and slowly study them. Because these notes are not so easy to understand. If you refer the notes after the class, it's fantastic because you will understand the notes 100%. And these are very precious notes. I've also circulated to you a book which consists of only Shankara Bhashyam translation in English. So those who do not have this, if you have joined late, maybe you haven't got it, but you can write to us and you can get these texts. Okay, so where we stopped last week is this slide. We are in mantra 2, where we are studying this particular portion, Sarvam Etat Brahmamaya Atma Brahma Soyam Atma Chatushpat. This is the mantra we are studying. There are about 30 slides for this mantra. And the meaning of this is quite simple. The next mantra, the third mantra, is the definition of the waking state. That state, Shankaracharya covers in a very, very deep manner, and it is difficult for us to understand the depth of this Upanishad with all the three states, which is waking, dream, and sleep. With Shankara Bhashyam, when you do it, you will be perfectly able to understand the Upanishad. In this mantra, the second mantra, Omkara is the Abhidhana and Brahman is Abhideya. I have explained Abhidhana means revealer. Omkara is the revealer. And what does it reveal? The revealed is Brahman. Brahman means it is the essence of the entire universe. You may wonder, how is it possible a small word Omkara can reveal this entire Brahman? Now that is what we are going to study in the 8th to 12th verses, 8th verse onwards till the 12th verse of this Upanishad. When you do that mantras, you will be convinced, oh yes, this is what I studied in this second mantra. So whatever you study now, you have to keep it and then remember it when we come to 8th mantra. Sarvam Brahma. You see, the Upanishad has got a style of revealing my nature. Now, all of us have to understand this unique method. When you go through the commentary, you will understand the method. In case you don't understand, you are free to ask questions at the end of the class, and then I will try to explain one more time. Right now, what we are studying is the word meaning of this mantra. It is the gist. Sarvam Etat Brahma means entire world is nothing but Brahma. Then in this mantra, you get the Mahavakyam, Atma Brahman. The self is Brahman. The fourth point is, in this mantra, Brahman consists of 4 components. The I also consists of 4 components. What are the names of the 4 components? Brahman, when you say, it is the totality. The totality is divided for the purpose of understanding. It is divided into 4. There is no division when it comes, there's no real division. But only for understanding purpose, it is divided into 4. The first one is Virat. This is the physical world. I'm going to explain all this to you slowly. So just try to remember the words and then slowly try to pick up the meanings of these words. Because this is how the Upanishad reveals our own real nature. Unless and until I remember my nature and the nature of the world is the same, till then we have to continue our study. You may not understand 100%, but till then, okay, let me study till your own intellect says, yes, what of the Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad is revealing is my own anubhava. It's my own experience. So the Brahman, which is the totality, is divided into Virat, Hiranyagarbha, Antaryami, and Nirguna Turiyam. These are the four components of Brahman. What are the four components of the individual? Number one, Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, and Turiya. Just remember the names. Later on, we'll give out the meanings of each one of them. Then you will be able to compare and contrast these names. So when the Upanishad says this Atma is Brahman, what it means is this Atma consisting of Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna at the individual level, Vyashti level, is the same as the total universe, which consists of Virat, Hiranyagarbha, Antaryami, and Nirguna Turiyam. Soyam Atma Chatushpad. This is the actual words of the mantra. Like Brahman has four components, Atma also has four components. Now, from here onwards, Shankaracharya gives the commentary of this verse. The meaning of Sarvam means all what exists in time, the three periods of time. What are the three periods of time? The past, present, and future. That is what is called as Sarvam. But in Sanskrit, Sarvam doesn't mean what is there in time. It also means what is beyond time. What is beyond time? It is unmanifest. How do I understand what is beyond time? Our experience in the sleep state is beyond time. I don't experience time in sleep. But you may say, no, I know there are 6 hours, 8 hours I slept, but that is with reference to the waking time, not with reference to the sleep time, because we don't experience time in sleep. That is what is called as Maya Shak. It is called as Avidya. It is called as unmanifest, Avyaktam. These are all the words which are used for our sleep state. So here Shankaracharya says that everything in time and beyond time is nothing but Brahman. Now, the same thing is Omkara. We have studied before why Omkara, because Omkara represents Auma. Auma stands for the Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, the three components of the Vyashti. Therefore, we say that Omkara also is everything. So if Sarvam is represented by Omkara and Sarvam is also represented by Brahman, then we can say there is Aikyam. Aikyam means there is oneness between Omkara and Brahman. That is what Shankaracharya is saying in this particular portion of his commentary. See, these are all the methodology of understanding the mantra. Shankaracharya's commentary is extremely deep. What words he is using in Sanskrit and how their translation we are trying to pick up, our intellect has to understand the significance behind this commentary. The next thing which Shankaracharya says in this commentary is, he says it is paroksha abhihitam. Paroksha abhihitam means whatever has been declared as Brahman, generally we say Brahman is paroksha, far away. It is not near me. It is not me. Aparoksha means it is me and it is directly referring to me. Aparoksham and paroksham. These are two words in Sanskrit. So generally we will say that Brahman is very far. It is somewhere very far. But then it says, it points out Upanishadic mantra nirdishati. It points out completely, directly, and says, this Atma, which is oneself, is Brahman. So Shankaracharya says that ultimately Upanishad is revealing my own real nature. That is the second point. The third point he says is this Atma consists of four quarters. This Atma means what? My real self. You see, when we refer to the body, we call it the body-mind complex. But beyond the body-mind complex, which is inert by nature, because it is made up of Panchabhutas. Beyond this body, there is an awareness consciousness principle, which we always indicate by putting one's hand in one's own chest. When you say aham, you don't point it to something outside. Idam, when you say in Sanskrit, you will point your index finger outside. This. But when you say aham, what Shankaracharya says is, it is self. I, the Atma, is this Brahman. I am Atma, iti Brahman. See, this is the way the Upanishad takes us to our own self. I have explained to you, Sarvam is everything. Sarvam is borrowed from the first mantra. Bhutam Bhavat Bhavishyat means within time, beyond time. Now, this is analyzed from verses 3 to 7. That is Avastatrayam. Avastatrayam means analysis of the three states. What are the three states? Waking, dream, sleep. That is what the whole Upanishad is only two analysis. One is Avastatrayam Vichara. Second is Omkara Vichara. So that Brahman which we are going to discuss in this Upanishad is nothing but it is Atma. Therefore, as seekers, wake up. Wake up to this knowledge which talks about oneness between the universe and the individual self. It's a very, very intricate topic. Normally, when you read these mantras and try to understand the translations, you will not be able to understand the depth of this. But because we are studying the Upanishad with the Shankara Bhashyam, as we study further and further, you will pick up the depth of this knowledge. Pratyakshataha, aporokshatah means intimately available self. We are not talking about something like a star which is very, very far away and I have to see through the telescope and then I have to, I have to understand. No, here we are talking about something which is so intimately available that I can never leave this self point of time. The self in us never perishes. It can never get destroyed. Understand this. This is the fact. The body gets destroyed, the mind takes up another body. But the self, which is consciousness, awareness, existence, is never destroyed. Another name for the self is Aksharam in Mandukya Upanishad. Imperishable. These are all the names of Atma. So here, I am means this. This Atma is Brahman. Who touches the finger on his heart and says, this Atma. So all of us, we should say, this Atma, which is myself, is nothing but Omkara revelation. What Omkara says is the final truth. This refers to object. It also through Abhinaya. Abhinaya means through a gesture. Anand has written a commentary on Mandukya Upanishad. It is called as Rahasya Vivrittihi. There are many, many commentaries. And the most famous ones are Anandagiri, which some portions of the third chapter, there will be some commentaries of Anandagiri, which we will be using. Study third chapter. One consciousness appears as the Jiva, Jagat, and Parama. This is the essence of the whole teaching of Mandukya Upanishad or any Upanishad. We use three methods. One is Pravilapanam. Pravilapanam means resolution ground, which we are studying in Taittiriya Upanishad on Saturdays. This is a very beautiful mantra. In the second chapter, 8th section, we study this mantra, which is resolution of the Panchakoshas into Atma. How does one do it? We study in Taittiriya, which I'm taking Saturday classes. Now, this Pravilapanam is one methodology of trying to understand that consciousness in myself. In short, what it means is I have to learn a technique to resolve the three sharirams, the panchakoshas, the three avasthas. I have to resolve it into my own nature, which is called as Atma, which is Chaitanya. It is, but who reveals this Chaitanya then? So, that I resolve all the three bodies, I don't have a world. There is nothing else in this world which suppose I resolve three bodies. Three bodies gone, there is nothing else. What Upanishad says is, no, you're wrong. When you resolve the three, when you resolve the whole universe, you realize there is something which is self-evident, which is self-existent, and that is what is called as Atma. And you can never destroy this Atma. Never. There is a process in Chandogya Upanishad. It describes that you can, how the body travels. In Prashna Upanishad, there is a beautiful question asked by a student to his teacher. What happens when one sleeps? What happens when one dies? What happens during pralayam when the whole universe collapses? Then the teacher says, whatever you are experiencing in your sleep state, that is exactly your ultimate nature, and you can never cross that nature of yours at any point of time. And try to realize this through the knowledge of Veda. So, what is the revelation of the Veda? I do not have death. I stands for consciousness. I have to remove all the coverings and arrive at that pure consciousness, which is what we are doing in Mandukya Upanishad. So the theories which are employed are abhasa, which is a reflection theory. Resolution theory is pravilapanam. Then there is another theory which is called as enclosure theory. Like space is enclosed in a pot, but actually there is no space which is enclosed. It is one space which is appearing to be enclosed. That is another theory to reveal Ekatma Brahman. One Brahman gets reflected in the mind. That is called as Abhasa, reflection theory. One Brahman is enclosed in the Buddhi, revealing our thoughts. Every thought which you have is lighted up by the light of consciousness. That light which is illumining your thought, and there is a light which is shining in the sun, both are the same light of consciousness. That is what Prashna Upanishad beautifully reveals in the fourth chapter. The 11 verses are there. Very beautiful section of to study what happens to me when I go to sleep. 11 mantras will teach you what happens when you sleep. Okay, that is a side topic, but here I just want to come back to this three sentences in the second mantra. Sarvam etad Brahma, everything is Brahman. I am Atma Brahma, Soyam Atma Pushpa. These two sentences, the commentary is over. I am now going to focus on the third aspect, Soyam Atma Chatushpa. What is the meaning of Soyam Atma Chatushpa? Soyam, this subjective self, has four components. This is just a revision. It is for those people who want to revise what we have taught so far. I have covered all whatever which is here. Consciousness is named as Atma or Brahman. It is one consciousness without any division. There are no two separate consciousness, one in the universe and one in me. There is no two space, one in the outside my body and one inside. Actually, one space. In space, body is there. That's all. So in consciousness, this body is arriving. In consciousness, the body is resolving. That's all. That is so simple to understand. If you keep consciousness as the reference point, if you keep body as a reference point, what will you say? You'll say, my body has consciousness. So consciousness becomes a part of the body. That is where the language which we use makes a difference. Whenever we see any mantra where it talks about one central principle in the universe that is called as Mahavakya. Anupravesha Vakyams. Anupravesha Vakyams means, like, for example, you say Brahman entered the Jiva. Those are also indirect Mahavakyams. Because ultimately, the Upanishad will say it is the same Brahman which only appears to enter the body. Actually speaking, it never enters the body, it is only a seeming entrance. There is only one Chaitanyam in all the individuals and also outside the individual also. Now, this sentence, which I have put here, this may not be fully understood now, but when we come to the third chapter, by the time you come to the third chapter, this line will become very easy for you to accept. How one Chaitanyam is there in the entire universe? That question, if it comes in your intellect, just be patient. You will understand this when we study the Upanishad, especially the third chapter. In Bhagavad Gita, the Mahavakyam is Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetrajnayo jnanam yatta jnanam matam mama. This is a Mahavakyam. Why is it a Mahavakyam? The Lord Krishna says, know me to be the knower of all fields. Means what? Know me to be the consciousness principle in all the bodies. There is nothing other than this consciousness, this observer. Shankaracharya brilliantly will give you the reasoning of how to see this vision of oneness. Especially in the second chapter, third chapter, that is the focus of Shankaracharya and Gaudaparacharya. So in all three states, we need to do an inquiry to find out, is there a light, is there a consciousness illuminator, revealer, which is the substratum in all the three states. That substratum is called as God. So whenever you see the universe, you must remember the substratum, the eliminator principle. Then you will always be with God. You don't have to go to a temple. When you study Vedanta, this is a higher level of the buddhi. At a junior level, as a seeker, you can go to a temple, you can pray, but those are all for purification of the mind. When the mind gets purified, it will ask by itself the question. The quest will start in your own mind because you have a pure mind. So all those who are attending the talk today, I give you guarantee each one of you has got a pure mind. You have a pure mind which is seeking the truth, seeking what lies as the ultimate principle in this entire universe. In your work life, you may achieve millions of dollars in your bank account, but that will not give you fulfillment in life. Fulfillment in life comes when you come to know what is this life. What is beyond this life which I am having today? Those questions and answers will make your life fulfillment. That is what is called as moksha. I am free. I am free ever, not now. You will realize I am always free as pure consciousness. I'm deliberately using the word consciousness again and again because the revelation is about self. Our self is nothing but consciousness. So three sentences which are there in the second mantra, Sarvaihi Etat, Brahman Ayam Atma Bhavati, Soyam Atma Chatushpat Bhavati. Soyam Atma, now Shankaracharya writes a few sentences and the commentary starts. The next 9 slides are on Soyam Atma Brahma. Soyam Atma means this Atma consists of 4 quarters. Here, Brahman and Atma are one and the same is what is being conveyed by the 4 quarters. What is the meaning of quarters is now taken up by Shankaracharya. He says quarters doesn't mean 4 legs, like 4 legs of a cow. It means it is 1 quarter, which is like the unit of currency. I will explain this, then you will understand. This Atma represents Brahman and it consists of 2 aspects, which is Aparam Brahma and Param Brahma. Param Brahma means Nirgunam Brahma. That means it is talking about formless existence consciousness. That is the ultimate. But what we experience is Sagunam Brahma, which is Aparam Brahma. Same thing of Paraprakriti, Aprakriti in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and in Mandukya Upanishad. Those who have studied Mandukya Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita, you can recollect those mantras which talk about Paraprakriti and Apara. What is mentioned here is there is oneness at the Paraprakriti level, at the Paramarthika level, at the absolute level, there is. Now, Chatushpat means there are 2 meanings possible. The literal meaning means path. Chatushpat means having 4 legs. Like a chair has got 4 legs. A cow has got 4 legs. But here it doesn't mean, pada doesn't mean legs, but it means quarters. What is the contextual meaning here? The contextual meaning is something like 1 rupee is 16 annas. For those who are in India, they will understand. 1 rupee is 100 paisa. That means $1 is equal to 100 cents. So how $1 can be represented by 100 cents? That is how 4 quarters can represent 1 Atma. That is the meaning which Shankaracharya says. It is, he gives you a grammatical explanation, but you don't need to go into the grammatical aspect, grammatical explanation. He says is, for those who know grammar, Sanskrit grammar, pada means it can be derived out of 2 vyutpatis, karana vyutpati and karma vyutpati. When you say pada, as far as karma vyutpati is concerned, it means it is the object reached. If you use karana vyutpati, it means it is the instrumental derivation, which means it is like a leg. Anyway, that is not immaterial. If you don't understand, doesn't matter. As long as you understand the meaning, contextual meaning, it is enough. Next commentary of Shankaracharya. The word pada, in the case of the first 3 padas, like Vishwa, It means pravilapanam. I'll explain this, but I just want to read the commentary so that you understand that we are using the commentary to understand the mantra. So pada means the waking state, the dream state, the sleep state. These are all used to understand what these three padas are used. They are the means to understand the fourth pada. The fourth pada means it is the Turiya. Turiya means it is the ultimate destination of our study. At the end of it, what did I understand myself to be? If somebody asks you, in Mandukya Upanishad, I study my nature. I understand my nature as pure consciousness. This pure consciousness doesn't have death. It is always there. It is self-evident, self-illumined consciousness. The moment you say self-evident, self-illumined consciousness, there is no comparison for this Atma anywhere else. There's nothing like Atma in the world. There's no second Atma. It alone is. It makes the entire universe known to me. The consciousness exists first. Then I experience the body, I experience my thoughts, I experience my indriyas. In sleep, what happens? This I'm just digressing so that I'm trying to make you understand this nature of consciousness. In Prashna Upanishad, the question is, where do all the 10 organs they see? All of us, we use our eyes during our waking state. We use the eyes. It is a karana. It is an indriya. It is an instrument. The question the student is asking, for example, my leg is running. That is a power. It is an indriya, power of the indriya. Hands can grasp. Now, all these powers, where do they reside when I sleep? See, you and I will never get this question in our mind, but that is the way Upanishadic student asks his teacher. There, Piprada, the teacher says, all these 10 sense organs, when you go to sleep, they all rest consciousness. That consciousness is the self. Every day when you wake up, again you take the instruments from that self, and again you come into the body and experience the world. Then the student gets very perplexed. He says, how all this happens? Then the teacher gives a very, very beautiful example. He says, like the sun rises and its rays are spread all over the universe. Similarly, when the indriyas are woken up every day, it is like the rays which are emitting out of the mind and the sense organs. But what is behind it? The Surya. The Surya principle is consciousness. What happens in the night? All the rays get withdrawn into the solar disk. Similarly, all the indriyams, the power of the indriyams, they are all come into undifferentiated form in consciousness, and they rest in consciousness every day when we go to sleep. Now you tell me whether you understand consciousness or not. That is the way of revelation of consciousness by the Upanishads. Very beautiful. I mean, again, Shankaracharya's Bhashyam. Amazing. Okay, coming back here, Omkara Vichara, I have explained to you, is from 8 to 12, 3 to 7 is Atma Vichara. The first pada is the waking state. It is explained in the next mantra, which is the third one. The second pada is the dream state. It is explained in the fourth mantra. The third pada now you know, pada means quarter. Quarter means ultimately aspects, four facets of one art. All this is only these are all the means to arrive at what? One art. So the third pada, which is the sleeping state, is explained in the fifth and the sixth mantra. The last pada, the fourth pada, is explained in the seventh mantra. The seventh mantra is Turiyam, explanation of consciousness. That is the central mantra of Mandukya Upanishad. If you want to buy heart, please buy heart. Na antaprajnam, na bahishprajnam, that mantra. By heart it. It will be very useful to you when you study this Mandukya. Again and again, Shankaracharya will use the seventh mantra. The method used to reveal Atma is called as Adhyaropa Pavada. I will tell you in brief what is Adhyaropa and what is Apavada. Adhyaropa, I have discussed this several times before in other Upanishadic classes, but again, this is a methodology. But just to explain to you, Adhyaropa means superimposition. What you have to do is, there is an Atma, consciousness. The waking state is superimposed on this consciousness. That is what is called as Adhyaropa. Dream state is superimposed on consciousness, like the movie screen. On the screen, you can see the first movie, waking state, second movie, dream state, all happening in the screen. The third movie, sleep state. That is also a movie because we experience the sleep state. So when we use this method of understanding the three states, we use the method of Adhyaropa. When we want to reveal the Atma, we use the method of negation, Apavada. What does it mean? This waking state, the consciousness in the waking state, which is the waker, is not the ultimate destination. It is not Atma. Similarly, we drop the waker, dreamer, sleeper, and we say, what is left out? Whatever is left out is. This is the methodology of Adhyaropa and Apada. So consciousness is the same. In the waking state, it is consciousness plus Jagrat Prapancha. For those who have done the Tattvabodha, you will understand this very easily. Waking state is consciousness plus the world, waking world. Dream state is consciousness plus the dream world. Sleep state is the consciousness plus the Karana Prapancha, causal world. These are all consciousness conditioned by the world. There exists another pada which is Nishprapancha Chaitanyam, consciousness free from the world. That is what we experience in our sleep state. But we don't know this. If you know this, your self-ignorance is gone. That means the sleep, the spiritual sleep which you have been having till today, that spiritual sleep You're waking up from that spiritual sleep and saying, I am that Atma, which is consciousness free world. This is called as spiritual awakening. You might ask, is it so easy? Yes, it is easy. If you know the methodology of understanding Mandukya Upanishad, it is very easy to understand your nature. Just follow, slowly follow. Upanishad sees a contradiction in this to reveal the truth. Why? Somebody may say, if consciousness is with conditioning, how can it be without conditioning? That may be a question which Shankara himself is asking. He is saying, how can consciousness exist with the world and also without the world? For that, the answer to that is it is possible if you know that the world doesn't exist independently by itself. That is the answer. Unless until there is consciousness, you cannot experience the world. This is a logic, but it will be explained again in a few verses later on. So sa prapancha means adhyaropa, nishprapancha means apavada, and universe with the knowledge of Atma Chaitanyam is the ultimate knowledge. What happens to the sa prapancha? Sa prapancha means with the world. What Shankaracharya says is that is what is called as self ignorance. It is delusion. This delusion is what we are trying to remove. Maya tatamitam sarvam jagatabdaktamurtinah mastani sarvabhutani nachaham teshvavastitah. All this world is pervaded by me, Lord Krishna says. You can see my own manifest form. You see the universe? Yes, that is my manifest form. Lord Krishna is saying it's my manifest form. Lord Krishna is nothing but consciousness. All the beings, they exist in me because I am the consciousness which is revealing it. But I do not dwell in them. Then in the very next mantra, Lord Krishna says, Nachamastani bhutani pashyame yogamaishwaram bhuta branna cha bhutastha amatma bhuta bhavanaha. I can exist independently as consciousness, which is what you experience in your deep sleep state without the world. This is the transcendent principle which is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. It is the same principle of Adhyaropa and Apavada. Adhyaropa is the verse number 4, Apavada is number 5. Very beautifully, it explains to me. If you uh, understand these two mantras, you can understand the entire Vedanta. You don't need anything else. It is only a question of your intellect being sharp enough to understand the three states are superimposed. It is the basis, not the three states, the basis is consciousness. The Upanishad or the Bhagavad Gita does not say that the world is in me now or it is in me later. How is this idea possible? The idea is possible only if world which we are saying is a world, it is mithya like a dream. Now we are not talking about the dream world. Dream world is mithya. Mithya means what? It appears and disappears. But here what Gaudapadacharya wants to prove, and he proves it in the second chapter, which we will see, how Swapna and Jagrat are very, very similar. This is the crux of the whole Mandukya Upanishad. If you understand that the central point, waking thing, but it is like, it is dream-like. World is mithya, it means what? It is seemingly there, exactly like how the dream is seemingly there, waking is also seemingly there. Experientially, it is there, available during the state of experience, but factually, it is not there. On getting up from dream or waking, you say, in fact, there is no word, I alone exist, is the ultimate truth of Veda. Mithya definition is experiential availability during the state of avidya. Suppose you become a jnani. By studying Mandukya Upanishad, you become a knower of Atma. Then what will happen? You will say there is fact non-existence because during my knowledge state, I claim I am the consciousness. Like in dream, you will say that the dream world is real. In waking, I will say the waking world is real. Real means what? It is always existing is our experience. But this we all believe this because this is the power of Maya Shakti. Factually, it is not there, but experientially, it is there. This is called as Mithya or Maya Shakti. The first three padas are called as Adhyaropa, and the fourth pada is called as Apavada portion. It proves the Mithyatvam of the Jagat and the Satyatvam of Chaitanya Brahman. See, this process of Adhyaropa and Apavada, we will be doing it in our study. Slowly, when you go through the seventh mantra, at that time we will be studying this methodology in detail. So, what is that Chaitanyam? That Chaitanyam is the observer principle. Without the observer principle, consciousness principle, which goes through the mind to experience the world, without that consciousness principle, there is no world, is the teaching of Mandukya Upanishad. Saha Atma Savigneya. Okay, you have understood now consciousness. What Upanishad says is that Atma is you, which I am going to describe in the seventh mantra of Mandukya Upanishad, which is mentioned here. Na anta prajnam, na bahish prajnam, no bhayata prajnam, na prajnam. This is the mantra which I said you must by heart. Because this is the definition of Atma. This is the definition of Turiyam. So, consciousness is a few things about consciousness. For those minds which are now eager to know this consciousness, there are two very important features. One is nirvikaraha, that means there is no modification of consciousness. And it is asangaha. Asangaha means like space, it doesn't get contaminated with anything which happens in the waking state, dream state, or in the sleep state. And it is nityaha. Third, which I have not put here, nityaha means it is always there. Exactly like the TV screen, the whole world appears in me, the consciousness. Now, this is the development of Shankaracharya from verses 1 to the third verse. So, to establish the mithyatva means the falsity of the universe Shankaracharya uses Adhyaropa Apavada, which I've explained to you now. He also uses two other methods. In Chandogya Upanishad, the methodology to prove that the world is false, the methodology is called Karanatva. Karanatva means this Turiyam consciousness is the Karanam is the cause of the world. So there is no product which is separately existing without the Karan. Pot alone is clay, clay is pot. Without clay, can there be a pot? No. Without the Karanam, there is no world. Without consciousness, there is no world. That is one method of establishing Mithyatvam of the universe. The second method which is used, these two methods are used in the second chapter. Drishyatva. I'm trying to give you the concept of what is Mithya. Drishyatva means Vedanta says whatever you see is Mithya. It is not Satya. What is never seen is the subject which is Satya. This is the Vedantic logic. You will understand the explanations more when we come to the second chapter. Yatha Somya Bripindene Sarvam Mridmayam Vijnatam. This is the Chandogya Upanishad, which talks about the cause and the effect. Very, very famous verse of Chandogya Upanishad. I brought it up here because it helps us to understand the nature of the world and consciousness. Accept the world, it is Adhyaropa. When you reject the world, it is Apavada. By using this methodology, what we say is what remains is Atma. The three inquiries in Vedanta are Avasthatraya Viveka, Panchakosha Viveka, Shariratraya Viveka. This is nothing but Tattvabodha. In Tattvabodha, Atma is said to be something other than the Panchakoshas, other than the three avasthas, and other than the three shariras. The first pada, second pada, and the third pada and the fourth pada, these are all the explanations in the third verse, which we will see next. Now, Shankaracharya is trying to explain to us what is the first pada. It is the Jagrat Avastha. It is in the third mantra. What is the definition of Jagrat Avastha? It is consciousness plus waking world. We will see the waking world very big detail, both in Vyashti form, individual form, and Samashti, the total form. The second pada is the dream state, and that is Taijasa and Hiranyagarbha. These are the two names used. In the first case, it will be Vishwa and Virat. The two names in the third state are Prajna and Antaryami. Don't worry, these names I'm going to repeat again and again in the following third mantra, fourth mantra, fifth mantra, sixth mantra. 4 mantras, I'm going to repeat all these names again and again. And just give me a minute. So this fourth pada is the Turiya pada, which is the Turiya Chaitanya Rupa Chaitanya. That means it is the same it is the same consciousness, but without any world. Chaitanyam appears as the world and it also exists without the world. The Vidya portion is the Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti. And the Satya portion is the Nishprapancha portion. What are the names given in the third mantra? How does Shankaracharya explain this in the third mantra? He uses words like Bahish Prajnam, Sthula Book, Ekona Vimshati. I'm just giving you the names, but we are going to explain this in the third one. What is the third? This Atma is also explained in the Karika in the third chapter. And the way it says is that there are separate eyes in each body. Each ego is there. Like, for example, you have an ego, I have an ego. Ego means what? The I notion in the body. Now, this I notion is compared to the Atma, which is manifesting in the mind. Exactly like the space manifests in the form. So similarly, when I try to remove the conditioning, then I can understand there is one single space in which the thoughts are appear. Similarly, consciousness in our mind. In your mind, the thoughts are being illumined by what? Consciousness. You are listening because of consciousness. You're lifting because of consciousness. You're walking because of consciousness. Your consciousness, my consciousness is only one, like the space. So we have now finished the second chapter. We are going to study. We are going to study the third. We have finished the second mantra. We are going to study the third mantra, for which Shankaracharya writes a simple, very introduction. He just says, "Katham Chatushpat Vidyaha." How the four quarters you're saying, how do you say the Atma consists of four quarters? Can you explain to me? He himself will explain. I'm going to just play the third verse now and just give you a running meaning in 5 minutes, and then I will stop. The continuation of the third verse will be the study in the next class.
जागरितस्थानो बहिष्प्रज्ञः जागरितस्थानो बहिष्प्रज्ञः सप्ताङ्ग एकोनविंशतिमुखः सप्ताङ्ग एकोनविंशतिमुखः स्थूलभुग्वैश्वानरः स्थूलभुग्वैश्वानरः प्रथमः पादः प्रथमः पादः जागरितस्थानो बहिष्प्रज्ञ सप्ताङ्ग एकोनविंशतिमुखः स्थूलभुग्वैश्वानरः प्रथमपादः.
Third mantra explains to us the first pada. The first pada is the Vaishvanara pada. The first quarter out of the four quarters. What are the four quarters? Waking, dream, sleep, and consciousness. What are we studying now in the third mantra? Waking. Fourth mantra, dream. Fifth mantra and the sixth mantra, sleep. Seventh mantra, consciousness. The third mantra explains to us the waking state in which Vaishwanara is the sphere of activity. Vaishwanara is the Virat Devata. Virat Devata means the totality of all whatever you see in the physical world. That consciousness, which is called as Turiya, when you experience that Turiya with the waking world objects, it is called as Vaishwanara. Now, what is this Vaishwanara, the Virat? How do you explain this Virat? That is how the mantra is going to describe the waking state at a very gross level. It is going to use Mandukya Upanishad to explain to us what is the meaning of the 7 limbs, the 90 mouths, which enjoy the gross objects of the world. Next week, we are going to describe this. It's going to describe the God in universal form. Chapter 11 of Bhagavad Gita, Vishwarupa Ishvara. So that form of Vishwarupa Ishvara is the description of the 7 limbs. The 19 mouths is the description of the Vyashti, the individual. So in the waking state, what are the two things? The Lord, Virat, and the individual, Vishwa. Vishwa consists of 19 parts. The Lord consists of 7 limbs. Together, they enjoy the gross world. When we say the individual, it means the consciousness which is appearing as the jiva. When we say Virat, it means the consciousness which is appearing as the totality. When you remove the word, what remains is only consciousness. What we have to understand is this individuality we should be able to resolve it in the totality. And similarly, the totality, I should know how to resolve it in the individual body mind complex. That process we are going to understand in 70 slides, which are going to come in 2-3 sessions. I'm going to take the first pada, which is taught in mantra number 3. See, now you will get a full picture of our study of Mandukya Upanishad. Third mantra, waking. Fourth mantra, dream. Fifth mantra, sleep. What happens to that consciousness in waking? What happens to that consciousness in the dream? What happens to that consciousness in the sleep? And when I remove the 3 words, Prapancha, which consists of the physical Panchabhutas, what remains is pure consciousness, which will be described in the 7th. Okay? It's very simple if you follow step by step. If you miss one session, please go through the talk in your own time, you go through the talk. Because then you will have continuity. Okay, so if you have questions on today's topic, you can put in the chat box. If you want to continue for the meditation sessions for the next 10 minutes, you can continue. So this will be what we will be starting chapter 1, mantra 3, Bhashyam. Okay, this is what we will start next week. Om Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We look at the chat box. I think there is no message in the chat box today, and we will. Shanmugam, can you see the chat box? Okay, there's nothing in the chat box today. Uh, if you have any questions, you can ask them. Shanmugam will unmute you, all of you at the moment, and then you can ask your questions. I'll just wait for Shanmugam to unmute, and then we'll go on one by one. Yeah, Rama, can you go ahead, unmute yourself and ask the question?
Namaste, sir.
Yeah, namaste, Rama.
So my question is, the absolute, the consciousness, whatever you name it, so that is the sole cause of the whole universe, all this scheme. And so considering ourselves caught up in his scheme, we have to either through reason or through meditation or by any means, we have to get out of the scheme. So is that right?
That's correct. You're right. See, we are caught up in our dream world. This dream world, if it is our dream at night, we all think it is very easy for us to drop it because it gets dropped by itself. The dream world never appears again. But the problem with the waking world is I see the waking world again and again. Even though I see the waking world again and again, there seems to be a continuity in the waking world. I see the same people, I see the same scenario, I see the same. What Shankaracharya says is, what Gaudapadacharya says is, this continuity is a seeming nature. It is not real. It is not it when you what is the meaning of real and what is the meaning of unreal? You should always keep this in mind that real means it never changes. According to Vedanta, real means it never changes. But the world which I experience keeps on changing in spite of the continuity, but it is changing continuity. It is not changeless nature. So your understanding is correct. Slowly, we have to understand consciousness. We have to understand in ourselves there is something called as consciousness. That is what is called as Atma. As you slowly understand this, Mandukya Upanishad is a beautiful Upanishad. Don't miss this Upanishad. It is really amazing. You need to have patience and you need to use the logic of what the Upanishad is teaching. Okay. So, Rama, I hope I have answered the question. You are right. Your thought process is correct. Next, we'll come to Shanta. Yeah, Shanta, go ahead.
Namaste, Mahoday. My question is regarding what is the difference between Pravilapanam and Adhyaropa Apavada? Because in Pravilapanam, you mentioned that it is three states which resolve into Atma. And when we are doing this Shankaracharya's Bhashyam on the third mantra, we are using the Adhyaropa and Apavada method.
Correct.
Where also we are looking at three states resolving into, the Atma.
Correct. Yes.
So what is the difference
The
between the two?
final ground of
Mm,
resolution is the same. In all
yes.
the methodology we may follow, whether it is
Mm,
anupravesha, pravilapanam, or adhyaropa, apavada method, or neti method, these are
mm.
all different methods. Contextually, we study them and we use them, but the final ground is Atma.
Yes, the final ground is Atma, that is clear. But um, see, in case of resolution, when we talk about resolution, we talk about the Panchakoshas in Taittiriya Upanishad. We talk about the Panchakoshas resolving into Atma. Okay, it is
No,
different
No, no,
no,
no.
you have to go step by step in Panchakosha. You see, you have
Yeah,
to, when you
gross
use the
into this, yeah,
methodology
mana.
of Pravilapanam, you
Mm,
have to say Annamaya resolves into Pranamaya.
mm,
Pranamaya
Manoj,
resolves
Manoj.
into Manomaya.
कहाँ
Manomaya
है?
resolves
Manomaya
into
आ
dissolve
गया
into
बोलो
Atma,
कहाँ है?
Anandamaya.
So this is the step by
हाँ?
step resolution when it is taught in Taittiriya Upanishad.
Taittiriya Upanishad, yeah, but
Okay,
it is a
now
resolution method.
so now that is the methodology followed. The methodology is you are taking your own five personalities, and
Mm,
then the Upanishad teaches you how one personality of yours can be resolved into another personality.
another one, and another one,
There
and
it
another.
is prana, annamaya,
Manamaya.
manomaya. They are different in nature.
Mm, mm.
Now, come to Adhyaropa, which we are using in Mandukya
Mandukya
Upanishad.
Upanishad.
Now we are not talking about the personality. We are talking about the whole state.
Mm,
The difference is the aspects are very different. Here we are talking about the waking state. Waking state is, it includes so many things.
yeah.
So as you study this Upanishad and you use this Adhyaropa Apavada, you will understand this better and you will also be able to see the difference between Taittiriya and Mandukya.
Yeah, but my question is Pravilapanam, Pravilapanam and Adhyaropa Apavada, are they same then? Because they both take three states.
No, in Taittiriya we are not taking three states.
Oh, Pravilapana is a Taittiriya Upanishad form, is it?
Yeah,
So my notes, okay. Then I think I made a
yeah.
mistake in understanding
Pravilapanam
that.
we are
Okay.
taking in the Taittiriya Upanishad,
Okay, okay.
which is
So yeah.
Panchakoshas.
Ah, okay. I think it while I was making notes, I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
I
Now you got
made
it.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
that's fine. Dhanyavad. Yes, I understood
Okay,
now.
you're clear now, right?
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Okay, good. Yeah, Rama, come back again. Go ahead.
So what I understand is the Pravilapanam, the Adhyaropa and Apavada are the three techniques to understand the consciousness. Right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, that's all.
Perfect. They are different techniques, but they are ultimately it is a technique used to reveal Atma. We are going to use another technique, which is Neti in chapter 3. Very elaborately, we are going to use it. And you will really love that technique. It's so beautiful because it takes you directly. That's all. It takes you directly towards your Atma. What you have to do is just close your eyes and say, Neti. It is not me, it is not me. But what is me then? The me which gets revealed in the end is not to be objectified. That is the meaning of Neti. Don't objectify Atma also. Hey, where is that Atma? I'm not seeing the light at all. You'll be waiting in eternity to see the light. You have to only say, I am that pure Atma which is existent consciousness. If you say that in your meditation, when you close your eyes, you will be with Atma. Guarantee.
So would you say that Lakshata and Vachyartha are also a method?
Yes,
Because
it is a
that
method.
also,
Absolutely right. Vachyartha, Lakshyartha is another method.
like Neti, yeah.
Paramarthika Satyam, Vyavaharika Satyam, another method.
Mm,
In Vedanta, we use several methods. Satyam Mithya, another method. So many methods according to the context.
mm.
different contexts. We use different methods, but ultimately you should say, I can use any of these methods. You see, some people, for example, for me, I feel Mandukya Upanishad method is so easy to understand. Take the waking state, drop it. How do you have to drop it? You have to say consciousness plus the world is waking world. Then consciousness plus the dream world is the dream world, is the dream state. Consciousness plus self-ignorance is the sleep state. In all this, what is common? I am conscious, I am consciousness, I am awareness, I am. This is constant and this will never ever leave you. In this consciousness only, the Karana Shariram gets resolved finally through knowledge. Otherwise, what happens? The Jiva is in ignorance. Ignorance means he doesn't know himself. Again and again, he thinks that the world is real and I am suffering. That is gone. The moment you come to Vedanta, slowly you will start believing in what Mandukya is teaching me. These verses are extremely powerful, very powerful. And they are very subtle. Another thing is they are very subtle. Slowly you will start seeing the subtlety in the second chapter. Second chapter and the third chapter is more subtler because reasoning is used. You see, we have never done this type of study in Bhagavad Gita or any other text like how we are going to do in Mandukya. I give you guarantee you have never done it. None of you must have done this type of study. Very deep and very scientific. Okay. So, Rama, I hope clear. Shama, you have a question?
Hari Om Shekharji.
Yeah, go
Thank
ahead,
you.
Shama.
Yeah. What is interesting is, I mean, the Vedanta in principle, sort of, there is no doubt whether we do Mandukya Upanishad or whatever, we are so able to clearly understand cognitively, yeah. However, it's almost as if we live in a dual world, you know. Cognitively, everything is clear, microcosm, macrocosm, all the 5 layers, you know, there's all the 3 consciousness, state of conscious awareness, everything is so beautifully clear.
Yeah.
But however, on an experiential level, you almost feel very stuck with yourself, you know, as to why are you not moving, you know? So this is my question. Do you have is it meditation which was the main key that might...
Yes, it is meditation. It is contemplation which is lacking. See, you have got the knowledge which is there in the intellect, but now it needs churning. It's like you take this is example given by Swami Chinmayananda. He says you have taken, you're taken a cup of coffee and the wife has put the sugar in the coffee and given to the person, her husband. The husband says, there is no sugar in this coffee. And he shouts at the wife. Then the wife comes and tells, come, you have not churned the sugar inside. Therefore, you're not getting the taste of sugar. So similarly, we have got the knowledge from different texts, different acharyas. You have learned some of these texts, and you have in bits and pieces this knowledge, and we need to understand what is the central message which I am supposed to absorb. So this central message requires churning of the ideas which you have got in your mind in tuning with the logic of Vedanta. See, you should never try to use your own logic. You wait. See,
No.
sometimes you may not know how to do the churning in your mind.
Yeah.
See, that many of the seekers, we don't know how to do the churning. Okay, I want to do the churning, but how do I contemplate? What do I contemplate? How do I do it? This is where studying the Bhashyam makes it very interesting.
Yeah.
Because the
The
Bhashyam will
only
teach you. The Bhashyam, Shankaracharya will teach you how you should churn the knowledge. See, he's going to teach in the second chapter, third chapter. Just wait. If you are
yeah.
very curious, you can study the notes which are there in the Upanishad, in the website. The notes are all there. I have already
Uh-huh.
almost completed the second chapter notes. If you just wait and see how the churning happens. So your
And
problem, Shama, the
and
way I
the
understand
promise,
this,
yeah,
yeah,
and
go ahead.
the promise is, I want to believe it. I want to believe it. The promise is, the more the churning goes, because then that gives me a very strong motivation, the more the churning goes, the more definitely experientially you can see everything changing, isn't it? At the
Yeah,
moment, what I feel happy, at least quickly in the awareness level, I'm very aware. This is what has happened. This is what I'm experiencing. So I can immediately distance it. So, in other words, it doesn't sort of make you go down the spiral loop, down. So that
yeah.
much is definitely there, that I can very quickly, separate out the thing.
You can flip over that mood of yours and come back again to your fulcrum.
Yeah, that happens. But the point is, that whether somebody praises you, whether somebody criticizes you, you remain the same. That is the
No,
experience
no,
what
don't
I'm
worry
talking.
about it. That is a part and parcel of the game of life. Just to take it and use it, just say that this is a part and parcel of my life. There will be some criticism. Sometimes there is appreciation. See, life is,
No, but in that, no, that is understandable cognitively. What I'm saying is, neither should I feel too elated, nor should I feel too upset. That is what is the experience part, which I feel this is not right. Why, if I'm understanding, knowing Vedanta, why am I still stuck where I can feel very happy or I can feel very down? That's the experience which I'm saying. I don't deny, of course, it's perfectly okay. Sometimes we are in a difficult situation, sometimes we are, but my own experience must not go up or down. This is the question which I am stuck with myself. And I feel, will it happen that there will be a time
well,
when
again, there is no other magic, but it's just, you just have to
churning,
wait and
chur-
listen, keep listening, and
yes,
hope one day this knowledge becomes reality for you. That's all. The moment this
it's a
knowledge of
pretty,
Atma becomes reality for you, today it is just
yeah,
a knowledge which is there in the intellect, but which you are trying to, uh, off and on bring it into your personal life. But what
yeah,
happens eventually is the knowledge of consciousness remains in the background
constant,
all the
all the
time.
time. Yeah, no,
And that
it's
is when
definitely very helpful.
you
Yeah.
will find that there is a transformation.
Fantastic. No, I'll just like to stay with that faith.
That's the, it's
Thank
a
you.
faith. Just live with that faith because, see, sometimes the intellect listens to these talks, but it never accepts it as the truth. This is a problem for all of us. It says, oh, the dream is mithya. Okay, fine. But the waking, how is it possible? Mithya. how is it possible? No rational intellect will accept that the waking state is exactly like the tree. And Shankaracharya will prove to you. I will prove to you. He gives a challenge. Come and study the third chapter. Come and study the second
Uh-huh.
chapter.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. I won't bore you more. Thank you.
Okay, there's a question. Rao,
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
Venkatesh here. Yeah. No, I'm finding churning part is very interesting actually. No, this
Yes.
churning, I just want to say because I have gone through this few times, and Mandukya, actually, first time when I heard, I felt it very simple. But second time when I just went through, it's not really that simple. Because when you add Kaya
correct.
Karya to that, it is difficult. But now I'm going few times actually. I'm just trying to get it. See, certain things, the way it has been explained in this particular Kaya Karya and all, this one Mandukya, I feel is something like everything. It covers very deep actually. So, like some other things I just would like to state. I was just saying this Bashyam chapter 1 mantra 2, where Shankara Bashyam, the word, the way he has explained, these four padas are not like four legs of a cow. Na gau ha iti pada. So he's saying it's not like, so they're not separate actually. And he is saying it is something like a quarter of a currency. And the word what he has used is karsapanavat. Karsapanavat. And I found this is very, very interesting because this currency, if you take four quarters actually, the each quarter is nothing but part of the same note.
Yes.
So these three pada, this what we are trying to discuss and all that, they are not separate like the four legs of a cow.
Correct.
They are all the part of it. See, I mean, this part, in spite of going few times and all, these are the very deep things you will be able to catch it only when that churning happens actually. The so-called sugar churning, then you will be able to go straight into this.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a correct observation, Venkatesh.
Yeah.
You
So,
see,
I mean,
that's exactly what I was trying to explain to Shama, that just wait till you come to the second and the third chapter. Those chapters are logic, where logic is used absolutely at the highest level. No other Upanishad I have studied where this type of logic has been explained beautifully by Shankaracharya. And
yeah.
those are convincing chapters. You just read through the verses. If you understand, the moment you understand, oh, okay, now I'm understanding. Second, third, fourth. The verses, one after the other, when they come in sequence, you'll enjoy the intellectual content in them.
Yeah.
Because when you understand the logical way in which you can understand the Upanishadic mantras, that makes a very big difference when you just read a mantra and try to understand it without logic.
Exactly. No, actually, I mean, some of these critical words and all, the various analysis, what is being done, superimposition, Apada, and all is good to know, but we have to get the inner meaning. The Mandukya, basically, what Shankara Bhashya has given emphasis, what I understand by doing so many times and all. He says Omkara is the nearest to the Brahman. The first sloka and the second, if we just try to analyze, the first is trying to say that Omkara is everything, and the second is Sarvam Iti Brahman. And the basically is trying to say that Omkara is nothing but the Brahman. Omkara is Upavakyanam, that word I'm just trying to catch it actually. That is the nearest. Anything you catch in this particular world, at the end of the day, everything is Sat and all. That's how also you can reach to the Brahman. But he has taken Omkara as the significance. So Mandukya has become so important. What I see from that point of view, Omkara is the closest to the Brahman, because whatever other things we do and all, we may not be able to reach to that infinite and all.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's the way I could able to see that. It's a very deep actually. I could see that some of these individual words and all, the very, very interesting. I was just trying to analyze. I try to get so many times this Abhidhana and Abhideya, because I could see lots of people will have so many problems to understand. We don't need to go into so complicated things and all. What it really means is simply Abhidhana is a name. Abhideya is the name to whom you are calling. Simple. So, for example, if my name is Venkatesh, that word Venkatesh is different, and the person Venkatesh is different actually, but they are both one only. So the Sabda meaning is just trying to catch that actually. What is just trying to say that every word, every object in this world, which is trying to say that Idam part is just trying saying that first sloka, that is nothing but it can be understood by a simple word calling, and all those words are part of Om. This is what my understanding actually. Shekharji, you may just...
Yeah, that's correct, Venkatesh.
Yeah.
You have summarized the first two mantras very beautifully. Thank you very much. Vijay, you have a question? You've been waiting a long time.
Yeah, it's a beautiful discussion going on. Just to answer Venkatesh, even in chapter 17 of Bhagavad Gita, we just get this verse, Om Tat Sat Iti Brahman.
Yeah, exactly.
We always start Om for anything, and that becomes an oblation onto the Brahman. And typically, if I may also add, whenever you do, I mean, after our Jenihu, that's the Upanayana, we are taught through Abhivada. So that's typically telling that I am the Brahman. We always say Sharmana. So whatever may be your name and the form, you are that part of the Atman. That's what actually comes through. So
Om is Brahman. That's all. Om means it's a Brahman directly.
That's it. Yeah, it's a Shabda Brahman.
It's a pranava for the
Yeah.
Brahman. Yeah.
So taking that forward, I have this question. I don't know if it's question or not, but it's just an observation, Shekharji. When we do the Purusha Sukta, remember you asked us when you're doing the meditation. See, when we start the Purusha Sukta, it says Sahasra Sirsha, Purusha Sahasraksha, Sahasrapat. It's also having Sahasrapat, which only means that each one of us, all our legs are actually empowered by the same Atman. And that is at the glorification of the Samashti level. Whereas Mandukya seems to be taking up from the Vyasti level, which is more Jiva Pradhana. Because Avastatraya, I feel, I don't know, maybe I could be wrong, it is more relevant to the Jiva. Because Ishvara Srishti doesn't have such changes as sleep state, dream state, waking state, as much as Jiva has. So does Shankaracharya trying to resolve the Jiva Srishti into the Atman, whereby it is reiterating that you are the Atman and the problems are actually for the body, not for you, because you are the Atman, as a takeaway from chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
Good. Very good, Vijaya. Thank you. Very good observation. Does anybody else has any other question?
I put a question on just in the chat box.
About this one.
Chat box.
Yeah, 1 second. Okay, 1 minute. Explain Semak Drishti. What is that? Samyak Drishti. Are you talking about that?
Exactly, Samyak Drishti.
Okay. Samyak Drishti means it is clear vision. You know, Samyak means clear. Drishti means vision. So, what Upanishad gives us is Samyak Drishti, which means it is clear vision about myself. Are you talking about any Samyak Drishti with reference to any particular mantra as such? Then I can go further.
No, I'm just asking that there's another chapter in Malayalam that I have going through that. So I know you have got that clear vision.
Yeah, correct. So Samyak Drishti means clear vision. For example, the vision of the Veda is Samyak Drishti, clear vision of the world. What we have is not Samyak Drishti. What we have today, that is what is Ajnanam. What we have today is Ajnanam. ignorance. Veda, the study of Veda or any spiritual text will give you samyak drishti. It will give you clear vision of the world. That the whole world is only a manifestation of the consciousness, and it is nothing but resolution of the world is nothing but it is an unmanifestation of the world in consciousness. This is what is called as samyak drishti. Suppose you look at the world and say, oh, there is a world, there is a real world, and it is ever existing, and I am a part of this world, I'm suffering, I was born on so and so date. This is not a clear vision. This is a confused vision of a jiva who doesn't have knowledge. What knowledge is he missing? He's missing the knowledge of pure consciousness. The moment you get the idea of pure consciousness, your drishti, your vision keeps on changing. As you study the Upanishads or the Bhagavad Gita or the Brahma Sutra, these are the three fundamental texts for samyak drishti. Shankaracharya uses this word samyak drishti, it's a Sanskrit word. He uses it very often in his Bhashya. So that is, am I clear, JP?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Vijay is saying equanimity on all states of Jagat is full. Okay, I understand this. In Mantra 7, the meaning of Ekatma Pratyaksharam, very especially in the Mantra of 7. Yeah, that's correct. Ekatma Pratyasaram is basically Povada. Anyway, we'll be coming to that portion a little later. Bharat, you're right. About this Ekatma Pratyasara. Samyak Drishti or Samadrishti. Samadrishti comes in Bhagavad Gita. Samabuddhi, Samadrishti, Samatvam means equanimity of the mind. Now that also comes, you see, the thing is that once you understand consciousness, you can link everything of Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads from the consciousness viewpoint. See, earlier what happens, every time you're looking at it from the body point of view. With reference to the body, I start looking at the mantras. Sometimes I don't get the clarity in the mantra itself.
Yeah.
That is a problem. Reference point should be consciousness in which all these Upanishadic mantras are written. Bhagavad Gita is also written basically with the view that you are Atma first. If you take Atma as the central teaching of Bhagavad Gita and then try to analyze all the verses, you will have a different vision and you will get more clarity. So, looking at from the body-mind complex standpoint and the world, the mantras, and looking at the mantras from the point of view of consciousness, Atma, makes a very big difference. Try to move your thinking process and your understanding process from the consciousness level. Every time you're trying to understand a mantra, for example, we are going to do the third mantra next week. It is talking to you about the waking state. Now, the waking state, you can look at it either from the body point of view and say that what is the waking state? What happens to the physical body? And then you will go on analyzing your life. That is ajnani. Now you take a jnani who is coming to Mandukya Upanishad. What will be his analysis? His analysis will be, he will start looking at it as consciousness plus the world. So the fundamental emphasis is on consciousness and not so much on the worldly aspect, which is looked at from the body level. This is a transformation. This is what makes an ajnani into a jnani. Okay, very good. All these questions are making me think a lot. I'm glad these questions will also help the seekers slowly to move out from their wrong vision. You see, the confused vision must go away. The moment you start feeling, yes, I'm learning something, I'm trying to, I'm enjoying these talks because slowly I'm trying to understand this aspect of consciousness or the awareness, which is my real nature. And I mean, the more depth comes in, and the more fulfillment of this knowledge comes in the third chapter. Really, you just look at the third chapter because it's a very challenging chapter. Why is it challenging? Because Gaudapada Acharya and Shankaracharya together have to prove that the waking state is mithya. They take the challenge to prove that the waking state is mithya exactly like the dream. You can imagine what type of reasoning ability they have to do. And they have to refer to so many Upanishadic mantras. Almost like 100 verses are quoted from the Upanishad. You see, Shankaracharya is brilliant. He always uses Shastra for all his logical statements. Suppose you want to understand clearly, you must always make use of the Shastric mantra for your logic. And he will teach you how to use that logic with the Shastric mantras. He will give you, for once, he will quote about 15 verses from 8 or 10 Upanishads. You will see all the Upanishads will make the same meaning which he is trying to convey. That is the beauty of Shankaracharya, which you can't get anywhere else. Okay, and these are the things which will come as you study the Bhashyam. You will get this. Initially, it may sometimes you may find it is too abstract, but just wait. Slowly, when your intellect starts contemplating in the way Shankaracharya is thinking, then everything, every word he makes, you'll be clear. And that is the time you will enjoy. You will find thoughts bubbling in you. Oh, today's talk is very good. Tomorrow's talk, I don't know, it will be fantastic. That is the type of talk, that is the type of thought process you'll get. Okay, I think we have had a very long session of Q&A. And in case any of you have any other questions, you can always drop a WhatsApp message to me. Or if you have any other questions regarding your study, personal study, if you're doing, you can always write. I get a lot of mails on this subject matter of what to study, how to study, which topics to study, which text to study. I get lots of mails from beginners, and I do talk to them, explain to them wherever it's possible. Thank you. Good night. Namaste.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hari
Thank
Om.
you, Anand.
Thank you.
Thank you.